10 years ago, gates opened in their world, letting in monsters, and awakened individuals started to appear. These awakened people became hunters hunting down the monsters. But our main character, Kang Jin-young, didn't care one day. A large crystal was thrown at his face, causing him to fall and bleed profusely. Jin-young was just a typical loser in the high school for the awakened. His only ability was regeneration. It was supposed to be an S-rank ability, but for him, it was just a painful process. The bullies attacked him, mocked him, and found amusement in his pain from healing. There was never any evidence of their bullying once he healed, leaving teachers and police unable to intervene. Especially since these S-rank awakened students received special treatment from the government. The reason Jin-young endured all of this was because of his mother. His father had died when he was only 5 years old. Whenever his mother asked about his school, he replied with a smile and said it was great to hide his pain. He promised to become a hunter once he graduated, making the decision to endure the hardship. He knew that with his ability, he could at least become a C-rank enter. His income would be modest, but he knew they could afford a better place to live, so he told his mother they should be happy. However, everything fell apart on his mother's birthday, when those bullies left his mother in a vegetative state. They claimed it was an accident, a chance encounter at her restaurant where she served them food. But they ogled her indecently. One of the men asked his mother what she thought about him and bragged about being awakened and his ability to create diamonds when she recoiled and accidentally broke his phone. He attacked her in anger, claiming his abilities had accidentally flew into a rage. Kang Jin-young was furious, crying and biting his lip in anger. He knew it wasn't a coincidence nor an accidental use of their abilities. In his rage, he ripped his flesh and dropped the cake he bought for his mother. Elsewhere, one of the bullies questioned if their actions were okay. The man retorted that no one would care if she died. He rested his hand on his friend's shoulder, claiming their youth and awakened status would protect them under the law. When his friend tried to reason with him, the man dismissively asked if his friend thought it was his first time beating someone. Suddenly, someone appeared and questioned their actions. Jin-young demanded to know why he harmed his mother, calling them bastard. But the man simply smiled, responding that he'd done it because she was his mother and that she looked very young. This made Janelle even angrier. In a rage, Jin-young charged with them, only to be hit by a sharp diamond. The diamond pierced his chest and he fell to his knees. While the man casually remarked about flirting with his mother with trembling hands, Jin-young grabbed the crystal and slowly pulled it out, enduring the pain. His chest slowly regenerated, causing him to shout, shake, and bite his lips hard in pain, but he still managed to call them out in anger, calling them bastards once more. Unleashed numerous sharp crystals, aiming his hand slowly at him, before lowering it, causing the sharp crystals to pierce him. He then asked Jin-young who he thought he was, and insulted him, calling him a loser. Despite bleeding profusely, Jin-young managed to get up and stagger towards his attackers with sharp crystals embedded in his body, tears mingling with rage. He endured the pain and charged at them. When he got close, the man signaled to his friend Thor to take action. Thor looked at Jin-young briefly before activating his power and electrocuting him, collapsing under the powerful jolt. Jin-young fell to the ground, seeing him prone. The attackers strolled past him, spitting on him in contempt. Still, he found the strength to reach out and grab the main man's foot in a furious tone. He demanded to know where he thought he was going, which provoked the man in retaliation. The man encased his hand in crystal and began punching Jin-young as he struck him, repeatedly. He hurled insults, blaming him for not protecting his mother. He even questioned what right Jin-young had to be angry. A crystal-infused punch to the mouth resulted in a gory mess. But despite this, Jin-young continued to glare at his attacker, further infuriating him next. The man called his friend Sandman and ordered him to start digging, which he did without hesitation. Jin-young looks at them weakly, cursed them, but the man merely gestured at him. Thor questioned the man's intention, only to be told to shut up. The man then activated his power, releasing crystals that gradually encased Jin-young. Despite his defiant threats and promises of revenge, the man only smirked, challenging him to escape if he could. Eventually, they fully entombed Jihyoung and Crystal and buried him underground. Jihyoung tried to lift the crystal, but he quickly realized it was futile. Causing his anger to explode in a flurry of curses, he yelled, hoping someone would hear him, and pushed against the crystals, but soon realized they were diamond, making them unbreakable. Suddenly, the lack of air became apparent. He gasped for breath, aching all over and slipping in and out of consciousness. His regenerative ability kept him alive, but each moment was filled with intense pain. Desperate to end his suffering, he grabbed a sharp diamond and stabbed it into his neck. However, his regenerative ability wouldn't even allow him this. He could only recall his mother's smile as he agonized, feeling utterly powerless. He considered how his mother must have felt in her last moments, clenching his fists in rage. He punched the diamond, determined to escape, no matter how long it took. The time didn't matter to him, as he was convinced he would survive 5. With renewed determination, he kept working to free himself. 5 years later on the news, the host informed the viewers that they were broadcasting live from a meeting with renowned S-rank hunters. The host noted that these 3 men were known for their generosity, often seen doing volunteer work. One of them responded that they always felt joy when helping others, a sentiment that continued to inspire them, leaving the viewers in awe. Then the host asked about an incident from 5 years ago when they allegedly harmed a civilian due to an uncontrolled ability. The men fell silent for a moment, then one of them feigned tears, while explaining that the victim was the mother of a close friend. This happened when he was a student and couldn't control his abilities. The man then admitted that he had apologized to his friend, but hadn't been able to reach him since he expressed a wish to apologize once more. Just as he was about to do so, a large door flew toward him, but the man was able to block it using his crystals and asked what was happening. The viewers fled, screaming "monster" as a massive figure walked into the room, breaking the ground with each step. He looked at the 3 men, but they say simply stared back calmly. The monster then lunged at them and attacked one of the men in the past. Jihyoung never stopped trying to escape. He wondered if months or years had passed. His crystals remained unscratched. He discovered that his regenerative ability was unique. Continuous injuries triggered excessive regeneration, making him stronger than before. His exoskeleton emerged as he destroyed his body and regenerated inside the grave. It was a painful process. Blood splattered, flesh ripped, and bones broke. The pain was worse than death. Each time he regenerated still, he persisted until he managed to crack the crystal free himself and vow revenge on the man. The force of the impact threw the man aside, and he collapsed. Thor was stunned to see a massive skeletal figure before them. Jihyoung recalled the man's taunting words, daring him to seek revenge if he could. Escaped foreign sandmen were shocked, but Jihyoung retorted angrily, stating that he had indeed escaped, and he called them, "You are going to die here."